Hello dear students. In today's lesson we are traveling around Britain and we are going to have some practice of reading tasks. Before we start working with text, I want you to remember where they can be from. An encyclopedia. A book or set of books containing many articles arranged in alphabetical order that deal either with the whole of human knowledge or with a particular part of it, or a similar set of articles on the internet. An advertising leaflet. A piece of paper that gives you information or advertises something. A postcard. A card, often with a photograph or a picture on one side, that can be sent without an envelope. A guidebook. A book that gives information for visitors about a place such as a city or a country. A website. A set of pages of information on the internet about a particular subject, published by a single person or an organization. Let's have some practice. Look at the texts quickly. Which type of resource is it? An encyclopedia, an advertising leaflet, a postcard, a guidebook, or a website? Yes, you're right. It's a postcard. And what about this one? Is it an encyclopedia, an advertising leaflet, a postcard, a guidebook, or a website? And the correct answer is an encyclopedia. What about the third text? Of course, it's an advertising leaflet. What do you think about this one? Yes, it's obviously a website. And where is the last text from? You're right, it's a guidebook. Everyone knows that the United Kingdom is the union of 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. We have heard that British people call their flag Union Jack, and the head of the country is well known all over the world, Queen Elizabeth II. Oh, and of course, London is the capital of Great Britain. Did you know that the British Isles doesn't just mean the 2 large islands of Britain and Ireland, but hundreds of other small islands around their coasts? Many of these islands are inhabited, and a lot of them are popular tourist destinations. Let's get to know more about these islands. Read short information about different isles and match them with the islands on the map, from 1 to 5. Let's check your answers together. We have read that Ricarda is on holiday at the north coast of Wales. So, island number 3 is Anglesey. The Isle of Man is located in the Irish Sea between Great Britain and Ireland. As we can see on the map, it's island number 2. The Scilly Isles are the most southwesterly point of British Isles, and we can see they are islands number 4. The Chelan Islands are between the south of England and the north of France, so on the map they are islands number 5. On the northeast coast of Scotland there are Orkney Islands, and they are islands number 1. It's time to know more about these islands. Read 5 texts about the British Islands. Which texts mention the history of islands, the climate of islands, the wildlife of islands, transport to the islands, the government of islands? Let's start with text A. You can stop the video if you need more time to read the text. And now, read text B. Text C is about the Scilly Isles. Don't forget to stop the video, and you will have more time to read the text. Let's read about the Channel Islands, and the text is D. And the last text, E, is about the Orkney Islands. Now we will check the answers, and I will show you where is the correct information in the appropriate text. So, question number 1. Which texts mention the history of the islands? We can find about this in 2 texts. Text D, the Channel Islands, And in the text E, the Orkney Islands. The second question. Which texts mention the climate of the islands? There are 4 texts that give us this information. Text B, the Isle of Man has cool summers and mild winters. We can read about the climate of the Scilly Isles in text C. Text D about the Channel Islands mentions this information too. And text E says that the Orkney Islands have the wet climate. The next question. Which texts mention the wildlife of the islands? In text C, we can read about exotic flowers and tropical gardens. And text E shows that there are rare animals and flowers on the Orkney Islands. Question 4 was, which texts mention transport to the island? Text C has the information that we can get to the Scilly Isles by a helicopter or a boat. And text E mentions about airline flights. And the last question. Which texts mention the government of the islands? This information we can find in text B about Isle of Man. And in text D we can read that there is its own government on the Channel Islands. Your next task, read these texts again. Are these sentences true or false? Number 1. The helicopter flight from Penzance to the Scilly Isles is short. Number 2. Tresco is the biggest of the Scilly Isles. The next one. The Isle of Man is to the east of Great Britain. Number 4. The Isle of Man has its own language and culture. The next sentence. The Channel Islands are in Scotland. Number 6. Guernsey has a lot of mountains. The next one. You can fly between the different Orkney Islands. And the last one. There are many ancient sites on the Orkneys. The helicopter flight from Penzance to the Scilly Isles is short. Is it true or false? You can find out it in text C. And the answer is true. The flight lasts only 20 minutes. Is it true that Tresco is the biggest of the Scilly Isles? Read text C again and find the answer. As you can see, St. Mary's is the largest island. That's why this sentence is false. Let's find out if Isle of Man is to the east of Great Britain. Read this information in text B. The answer is false, because the Isle of Man is in the Irish Sea, between Great Britain and Ireland. It's to the west. The Isle of Man has its own language and culture. Is it true or false? Read text B again. Of course, English is the main language, but we can see that ancient Manx language is being revived, so this sentence is true. By the way, they have their own parliament and elections every 5 years. Are the Channel Islands in Scotland? We can find about this in text D. The answer is false, because the Channel Islands lie between the south coast of England and the north of France. Guernsey has a lot of mountains. Is it true or false? Guernsey has a flatter landscape, so it's false. How do you think? Is it true that you can fly between the different Orkney Islands? In text E, we can read that there are plenty of internal flights within the islands. That's why this sentence is true. And the last sentence. Is it true or false that there are many ancient sites on the Orkney? Of course, it's true, because there are 1,000 prehistorical monuments. Well done, dear students. Now you try. Write a postcard to a friend from one of the islands you have read about. That's all for today. Bye for now. Have a good day.